I know, I'm working on it.
Let's see if Facebook wants to go. Oh, there we go. And we are live. Greetings, readers and travelers. My name is Richie Stevens.
I'm Joel.
And this is Chattin Stats. We are excited that we're here for another episode. And joining us today is two returning guests. Oh, why is Facebook echoey? There we go. Cool. It was Facebook and YouTube that was echoing. But joining us today are two returning guests. I think it's actually been a year since they have been on. But joining us are the Stovalls, Shammy and John. How are you guys doing today?
Very good. Having a great day.
Same.
All right.
Happy wife, happy life.
I mean, that is that's a positive right there. So we're just going to run through a little bit of housekeeping real quick and go over just all the fun little intro stuff that we like to do. So if you haven't seen already, actually it's been about 2 weeks, on the 31st, Jessica Threet and I started our cold read segment where her and I will be doing just, like little 30-minute cold reads and talking with authors and that fun stuff just to have a good time. And also Geneva's already in the chat, so I know I'm about to get ruthlessly bullied. But Jessica and I have a new episode coming up in 10 days. Next Wednesday on the 20th, her and I will be doing a cold read from Son of a Sailor by Marshall J. Moore, which we are very, very excited about. Marshall is an absolute delight, and we absolutely adore him. We're booked. We are packed out with people for the scheduling for the rest of the year, and it's insane. Like, if we did an episode every week from now until probably until February, we still wouldn't be able to get everyone I talked to at Dragon Con this year, which is wildly crazy. I'm happy that we got you guys back on because I've been wanting to get you two back on because both the books we're going to be talking about tonight, absolutely fantastic. Both reads are in the top 5 of the year. So, yeah. Joel, do you have anything you want to touch on real quick?
I am just super excited. I mean, there are some amazing shows that we're going to cover, and I'm also hyped about tonight. So why don't we get into it?
All right. So, you know what? We'll take a little a coin flip. Are we doing time marked first, or are we going to do Demon Card Enforcer? Drop the coin so you guys pick, because I'm not bending down.
How about we do John's first, because I love John so much.
All right. So we are going to pull out. I'll just go ahead and hold it up. We're going to be talking about Demon Card Enforcer. So, John, why don't you give us a little bit of an elevator pitch on what Demon Card Enforcer is?
It's Sin City meets Magic the Gathering. That's really the vibe that I'm trying to go for. It's a noir urban fantasy, but that's something I've learned from one of the groups. It's all slaying, no laying. It's not a romance urban fantasy. And the magic system is, I call it triple progression lit RPG. It's a Magic the Gathering card system, but two things set it aside. First is the cards themselves can tier up. If you get 3 of the same card, instead of just having a lot of them in your deck, you can merge them to make the card itself stronger. And secondly, you can level up yourself so that you have, because you don't get lands or stuff like that, so you have more power to play, more cards in hand. When you draw a hand, more cards on the field, things of that nature. So it's sort of triple progression. You can get better cards, you can make the cards you get better themselves, and you can make yourself better. And it's all set in a modern world, but one where magic is understood and known, but it's all part of the great game, the card magic system.
Okay, that covered pretty much every topic we're going to talk about with Demon Card Enforcer. So I will say this is probably one of my favorite deck builders, and with deck building, lit RPGs and stuff being on the rise, it's hard to say when we're going to get like the one that tops the previous one, because we already have quite a few out there. We have all the skills, Arcane Cultivator, Battle Deck Academy. We're getting some new ones coming up here soon. But I don't think any of them can top the emotions I feel with Demon Card Enforcer, because it's got the actual like card playing system where they're not just magical abilities. Like, you actually have to be strategic with what you're actually going to play, and they don't just feel like power-ups. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, when the book takes place, it's the first year they actually have summon companions, right?
Correct.
So we of course get our best boy on the front cover. And no, I'm not talking about the 3-headed dog. I'm talking about my boy Wolf right there. No, Sarabu. We absolutely love him. And I gotta ask, why Cerberus? Like, what was the inspiration with having Cerberus be kind of like the main one?
This, I mean, I think I've talked to you about this before, but this is an extremely weirdly assembled, like the concept, how this book came to me was very strange.
Mhm.
But you can see them playing in the background behind me with Shammy. And I guess I've become a good boy person. I love my doggos. And in Elf Empire, the series I did before this, Hugh, while fully intelligent and all the rest of this, was one of people's favorite characters, and he's the companion character that's the non-human companion character. And I guess when I was thinking about this one, I was like, dude, it'd be cool if he had like an awesome dog. And I was like, well, what are the awesomest dogs? And then Cerberus immediately jumped into mind, and that's where that came from. But I pulled from a lot of stuff that I've done, and a lot of stuff that Shammy's done, and even if I think I told you this guys before, but some of this has resulted from work with Ryan Tang. So I just pulled from a lot of areas, but this one was a pull from myself. Basically, I wanted a cool anime companion like my last one, and I was like, my doggos are awesome, so I'll just share that with everybody.
Okay. I mean, I'm on a Greek mythology kick right now, and I have been for probably the past year. So obviously, when I saw Cerberus on the front cover, when you were just teasing this with Royal Road before the audiobook and everything came out, I was hooked. I picked it up on Royal Road, and I think from when you were writing, I think I got to chapter 25 in one night, just from when sitting down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this. I couldn't put it down. I was late to work the next morning because I didn't sleep well, because I just wanted to keep reading.
So it's funny. There's nothing that says that this has to be Greek mythology per se, and I actually play around a lot with Aztec mythology in book 3, but it's seeming to pick up, the world as a whole is seeming to pick up a lot more Greek flair. I can't remember if I told you guys this, but Casey Azell, who, like Shammy, I think is also a 2-time Dragon Award nominee, is writing in this world now. And she's doing Shadow Card Enforcer, which is, and that'll probably be releasing in Royal Road early January.
Ooh.
Uses the same card system, but the goddess that's the sponsor, instead of being Cerberus, is Nyx.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people like those cards even better than mine. I mean, I worked with her to design them. She was concept, I was numbers. But they like the concept even more because it is just a little more badass to have the Mother of Night, one of the primal deities of the Greek pantheon, playing around. So it's interesting how much of the Greek mythology has now influenced. It's 2 out of the 3 series that are in this world are fairly heavily influenced from that.
Okay, all right. I'm Joel.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to play Smite again with all the Greek gods and everything. I'm having that itch again. So I'm gonna let you take over. I want you to.
I'm just gonna say like I'm just gonna remember it fondly. I don't know if I need any more of that Smite hate in my life, but
It did make us toxic as hell.
no, I do enjoy the Smite characters, and the game was fantastic. But getting on to Demon Card Enforcer, it would be interesting to see how she like writes in this world. Like, I fell so much in love with Wolf and the underworld gangster like enforcer that he is. It feels like I've had it described to me as John Wick meets Magic the Gathering, and I totally agree. And one thing I also wanted to point out is the mechanics on the card types, just how I forget, is it like mortal types that like humanity is? There's like mortal, and then there's like demonic, which each card type has something they're good against and something they're bad against, but demonic does is strong against mortal types. So any like gunfight that happen, that's considered mortal damage, and he's just like, oh, let me put my mantle on and now I'm bulletproof. And it's funny because he doesn't get it half the time. So
Really
yeah,
quickly,
I
yeah,
really
no,
enjoyed that.
I did see the spot Cerberus, Sam, and I was aware of that, although ironically not until after I started writing this book. But it is pretty funny. So yes,
Oh, and if you don't mind me interjecting, so when John was writing this book and he was designing his card system, I'm actually not only have John and I played a bunch of Magic the Gathering, but I really like Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game show.
Hell yeah.
And I've watched like every Yu-Gi-Oh. Nobody should watch every Yu-Gi-Oh, if that makes any sense, because a lot of them are they're not good. But I have, because I'm
What do you mean?
insane.
We're going to save the world by playing a children's card game? Come on. It doesn't
On
get more animated than that.
motorcycles.
Hey, whoa. You're attacking Joel there with Battle Deck Academy.
Well, Battledeck Academy didn't have the
Or no,
motorcycles. It was 5Ds.
It was 5Ds and
5Ds.
GX was the
Yes.
Had the motorcycles. So, yeah, don't challenge me.
Yeah,
on
I was a
Yu-Gi-Oh.
huge GX fan, not so much 5Ds.
5Ds
Nobody
was
likes
bad.
5Ds.
But
Was
I
bad.
think the reason 5Ds didn't do as well is because one, yeah, motorcycle dueling
Motorcycles. That's
doesn't
the
work.
reason.
But also following up the masterpiece that is the original series, it's kind of
Well,
hard.
and that banger of a last season in the original series, that was great. But so let's put Yu-Gi-Oh aside. When I was talking to John and he was like, Shammy, what do you like about, these card game things? And I was telling him, all the things I liked, the scenes in Yu-Gi-Oh. Again, he could probably recite verbatim the fight with Slifer the Sky Dragon, because I've told him that fight like 30 times. But I told him, I was like, the thing I am irritated about them is that I hate that the main character, or the deck bearer, the person with the deck, can get hurt by a lot of these monsters or shenanigans, but he can't ever really fight back. Like you don't personally see Yugi go and punch somebody in the face. You know what I'm saying? I told him constantly, I was like, it irritates me that he can somehow get hurt by the monsters or hurt by the arena or hurt by something bullshitty, but he can't do anything. He just has to stand there like a boob. And that's when John came up with that mantle system. And I thought that mantle system was genius. Like, I thought that was super cool that the main character can pull a card that gives them an ability so that they can basically also fight. And I really liked his great game rule about how the monsters on the field had to target enemy monsters before they can target the people involved.
Yeah.
So all of these, I thought those were just ingenious. And it was all John just listening to me rant, basically.
Which I will say that's probably one of my favorite things about the book too, is each chapter starts with a rule from the game itself. So like, and they go down pretty much verbatim of in order. And I like that to start the book off, we get the great rule, the great game rule number 1. Every 10 years, the gods will grant 1 in 500 people over the age of 13 a deck of 10 cards, and that person shall become a deck bearer. Sets the tone. And we're wondering, is Wolf going to be granted a deck? Is he going to have to kill someone to get a deck? Let's find out. So, I'm trying to think of now that we've brought up Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm just waiting to see the Pegasus type character in one of the books.
That would be amazing. So I don't think John has actually watched Yu-Gi-Oh though.
John, just watch the
real.
first season. Watch the first season. Meet Pegasus and his Toon World. Ah, God, that deck still gives me nightmares. So, Duelist Kingdom, just that's all you got to watch. All you got to watch. It's great, and you get to meet Bandit Keith, one of the great
Dude,
side characters.
I was
that
just
no one,
about to mention Bandit Keith. Okay, that guy is a meme unto himself.
where in the original version they give Bandit Keith a gun and he points it at Pegasus's head. In the 4Kids version, he just does finger guns.
Yeah, dude.
Is
Dude, and the fact that they switched all the dialogue to tell instead of saying I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna send you to the shadow realm and stuff like that. I mean, it makes the 4Kids version a banger because it's hilarious.
Oh, 4Kids had some of the best dubs, and I will die on that hill. So, Joel, why don't you share one of your something else that you liked about the demon card Enforcer?
Oh man.
Let's talk mechanics, because mechanics are your thing.
Well, I mentioned the mantle earlier, but there are a bunch of different card types. There's like they added the pet card, or
Companions.
I'm spacing on the companion cards, which you can activate whenever you don't have like you don't need them in your hand to activate them, which was interesting. They have honestly just the way that the mechanics were made, it gives the feeling that it's a lot more actiony than like normal card games. Like every 60 seconds you get a new hand or draw or whatever, and it definitely makes it feel like they're not just standing there and having their monsters duel it out, but they also can kick ass as well.
So
I recently did a re-listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm
just giving all Sound Booth Theater the love right now.
Right. But they did their card-based floor in the last book, and they made it, but it was like also kind of broken, and he kind of like lets that be a thing where it's like, oh, they didn't spend much time on this. It was kind of rushed. But it is also trying to do the like live action, like in the moment fighting, playing cards. You're still allowed to do stuff,
right?
But I think the series definitely nails the balance of like live action fighting versus summoning monsters.
Yeah, that's like I said, the way the series got assembled was kind of funny, but it is what happened. I tried to design a card system first, and then Shammy was like, "Don't forget you're writing a story." And so then I shifted some elements, and that's what really happened is based on her feedback, I designed the mantle design to keep the action flowing, remembered to keep main character involved in the action and all that. But I was very much going for a balance. I did want something that felt at least familiar to MTG players, like myself. And but at the same time, although I'm kind of intermittent on MTG, I go through like 3-year phases of absolute hardcoreism and spend a whole bunch of money, and then I'm out for some years, and I go back and do it all again. I'm not quite sure why I'm like that, but I've had like
I don't know what that's like.
Three or
never
four
done
phases. That. Yeah, I just keep coming back. Like it's a weird drug. I think I'm free for a couple of years and then another couple $1,000.
That's me with it, because it's like, oh, I'm not going to play Magic, and then Ren will message me and be like, hey, did you see what the next collab's going to be? I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
I'm back in.
Yeah, but I wanted something that felt familiar to that crowd. While at the same time, allowing a good story with the main character that can actually do things and be threatened and
And
stuff like that.
as I said earlier, I think this is the one that feels the most like the closest to like Magic the Gathering or a Yu-Gi-Oh based one where the cards actually they're more summoning based than they are like, oh hey, we'll just give you a lightning spear or something among the other. Like when I think of a deck builder, I'm thinking of monsters attacking monsters. And now I'm like, oh, monsters fighting alongside the hero? Yes, please. Let's go. It also, and Shammy, this might be a deep cut for you. I don't know, but it's a deep cut for me anime wise. Speaking back to my Toonami days, it gives me Zatch Bell vibes.
Well, it was a deep cut.
A lot of people don't remember Zatch Bell.
I think Toonami isn't too much of a deep cut because I feel like a lot of people in the lit RPG sphere grew up on Toonami. They really like Toonami. So I think a lot of people get the reference, but I totally agree.
It's like it's just like the summoning aspect of like, oh, you have pretty much your main companion, which I guess if we threw Yugi into this, it would be Yugi and Dark Magician, where if we had Kaiba, it'd be Kaiba and Blue Eyes. We have Wolf and Cerebu, because why not? He cute little best boy, and he will rip your damn face off. I do like, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler, the reasoning for why Cerberus chose Wolf as his deck bearer. Wasn't expecting that. And when I got to that part in the audio, Justin killed it with that scene.
Dude, Justin kills everything.
True.
I think I've told you this before, but the way that I got to SBT is the most convoluted and lucky for me story pretty much ever. Should not have happened. My agent just told me flat out I wasn't worth SBT yet, like just to my face. Those were his words. He said, you're not good enough to deserve SBT yet, but a bunch of weird stuff happened in like an extremely convoluted pattern. So I ended up with Justin, but I didn't even know who Justin was until like a week or two before that. He was doing the work on Time Marked Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I can't say too much without giving spoilers, but his voice for the character that he voices was so amazing and so hard bitten, like noir, that when the whole situation resolved itself and they were like, Justin will do your book, I was like, because he was made to play Wolf, man, like 100% that voice. And I didn't even know who he was until like 2 weeks before that. And then they were like, oh, you can have this guy. And I was like, dude, that. And I actually said that too. I was talking to Champion. I was like, there's some things I like. There's some things that are good, some things that are bad. But this dude's voice is like just absolutely perfect for the villain, like 100%. And that villain, sounds the same. So it was super cool.
Justin did an amazing job. So did Jeff and Tiana, which I think this is really the first one by Tiana I've actually listened to. I'm double checking really quickly before No, I've done a few of hers with End of the World and also Dead Tired. I forgot she did those. There's so much talent at Sound Booth Theater, so it's hard to keep names sometimes because it's just we go through a lot of books over here.
This is true.
But when I saw your post that Sound Booth Theater was doing the audiobook for this, and they were also doing Time Marked Warlock, I was ecstatic. I was like, yep, I need these books out now. Everything else that's on the TBR is getting kicked to the back of the list because these are important books. These are ones I need. So, but no, they did an absolutely fantastic, amazing job with Demon Card Enforcer. I'm so happy it's out. I'm ready for book 2 to come out at the end of the month.
And Justin's been super supportive in other ways too. He actually talks to me moderately often. He did some stuff to get support for advertising for Time Marked Warlock as well, like cross promotional type stuff. Helped out with like audio codes, and I'm pretty sure there was some mistake made at some point, and he ended up purchasing a couple himself. I don't know that, but just based on the way things were resolved, I'm 90% sure he put some personal money into resolving.
Justin he's a stand-up guy. He's been one of our number one supporters. And when we saw him, or when I saw him at Dragon Con this year, first thing he did, give me a big hug. And I was like, yeah. So we gave him a Chattin Stats hat, and he was wearing it.
This is completely random, but I'm a huge dude, obviously fat, but also tall, 6'2". And it is weird for me to have somebody that just towers over me. Like the randomest
He's a
comment,
tall
but
dude.
he is so big. Like, and you don't really notice it. Shammy was going to do a roast joke where she was like, "You're the only person I know where the camera steals a whole foot." Because you can't really tell when you look at him like in the booth, and then you meet him in person, and you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh my goodness!" Like,
I forget how tall he is because I've met him 3 times now, or well, twice. Because last Dragon Con back in 2023, first time I had met him in person. Like we've been on camera before and talked to discuss stats and stuff. But when I met him in person, I had to look up and I was like, "Oh no,
yeah,
I'm not used to this."
that's why the memory was true, or the thought was triggering, is because I met him at Dragon Con for the first time too, and I did not understand, because I'd talked to him through cameras and stuff on a couple different occasions.
Mhm.
I'd watched him do his recording. I don't know why you can't see it. You can't see it when he's doing the recording, man. But when you meet him in Dragon Con, you're just like, holy beans! You are one of the largest human beings I've ever seen.
He's a giant, but he's also a gentle giant because he's just so caring and compassionate. And
Absolutely.
Justin, if you're watching this, we absolutely love you, buddy.
Yeah. I remember meeting him at Dragon Con last year, not this year, but last year. And we probably said hi and met for like 10 minutes. And then he absolutely remembered who I was, what I was doing. Whenever I went to Jordan Con, we ended up singing karaoke together. Like, he's just that guy. Like, he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet, I swear.
All right. So, do we have any final thoughts on Demon Card Enforcer before we wrap it up and go over to Time Marked Warlock?
2 weeks. 2 weeks till the
2
next
weeks.
one.
I feel bad for any books in my TBR because you're going to be put on hold for a few days when Demon Card Enforcer and Time Marked Warlock book 2 come out because, whoo boy, it's yeah. Also, I will say the cover art for all 3 books of Demon Card Enforcer, absolutely fire. They are fantastic.
It's crazy too. So again, the number of things that went right for this series, and bizarrely right for this series to like come together, is legitimately hard to overstate. There's like 5 separate freak accidents that have resulted in this book. But the guy that does the cover, his name is Michael Gladigow. And he was like a random pickup. Like, I know this sounds super strange, but we have an artist that we basically never deviate from, Darko, Paragus 99, and I wanted my covers done by him, and we reached out to him, and he apparently got sick, like really sick, and he was out for a couple months, and so we had to go to somebody else. And some random person had just posted on the author Lit RPG page in Facebook that this guy was looking for work. And if you wanted to dig back a whole year to see what was going on, you'd find a picture of somebody that looks almost exactly like Wolf, that this guy did. And Shammy, she was sort of in charge of the cover artist, and she was like, "Well, what about this dude?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "Yeah." And then when I contacted the guy, I was like, "Hey, I just want this dude with Cerberus next to him. Like, that's all I want." And that's what he basically did. But it's and then he did the other 2, and they're amazing. Third one, especially, man, the cover for the third book is just,
the third one blew me away with how awesome that artwork was. And I'm like, I want a poster of the full wrap, the one that you had posted on Facebook. I just want it right here.
Yeah, it's so good.
I want it on my wall because it's that freaking cool.
Dude, any Lit RPG authors that are listening to this, man, this guy apparently does not have enough work to not do this full time, and would like enough work to do this full time, and he is stupid good. So I regret this at some level, because now he's going to probably raise his prices, not have time for me. So, but I just want to shout out all the people that like are talented and that were involved in this. And that guy is crazy good. Michael Gladigow. Anybody wants, you can contact me. I'll send you his email. But stupid good, reasonably priced, and basically just pure luck that I got him.
Well, pass on that the Stats crew absolutely loves his artwork. That he's absolutely fantastic. All right. Cool. I guess it's time to talk about the other Stovall in the room. with their fantastic book, which is not lit RPG. It's more urban fantasy and stuff like that, but it's still really good. Time Marked Warlock. Shammy, why don't you give us a little bit of a elevator pitch on what is Time Marked Warlock? What's it about?
I guess my elevator pitch is like the Dresden Files meets Groundhog Day. Yeah, it's like I think it does get put into the like almost gamelet style stuff because his power is a save rewind. So the warlock has made a pact with Kronos, the Titan of Time, and he can rewind time up to 24 hours. And he even describes it in the book as like a save point in a video game. Well, he doesn't describe it that way. Technically, the little girl does, but it's like a save point. And so he solves crimes and catches criminals by basically just rewinding time, collecting literally all the evidence, figuring out who the bad guy is, and then apprehending him. But from everybody else's standpoint, because they don't experience the time rewind, it seems like he just walks into a crime scene, immediately catches the criminal, and then walks out. So he has like a legendary status of being like the best warlock ever to catch criminals, because from their standpoint, he comes in, you know what I'm saying? And then boom, everything's solved. And you're like, whoa, we need to get this guy. I guess the book really starts off with, so Adair Finch is the main character. It actually starts off with him having already retired because 10 years prior, his brother died in kind of a terrible way. And so he kind of lost his mojo, right? And he stopped doing all this kind of stuff. He locked himself in his apartment and basically didn't interact with anybody. Amazon and DoorDash got him all the things he needed, and he was dead to the world. But the book starts with a little girl knocking on his door in like the middle of the night because her mother was just murdered. And her mother told her that if she was ever in danger, to go get Adair Finch because he would solve everything. And that's where the book picks up, basically, is little girl is like, help me catch this murderer. And grumpy Adair Finch, who doesn't want to do anything, is like, fine, I guess I'll help you catch this murderer. And obviously it's a story where it's a little bit more complicated than that, right? It's not just a murderer. There's bigger things happening. We deal with witches and other warlocks and wacky magical creatures and a mischief spirit. So
damn bird.
Yeah, the pigeon, the mischief spirit pigeon. So I think it's a good time. You know what I'm saying?
And we should also preface that the little girl's mother was a witch. That's how she knew about Adair, and he even recognized her name and kind of felt like he felt a little remorse, like a little hurt that she died. Like there was a little more there than I might have been reading into it a little too much. And by that, I mean listening to Jeff's amazing voice. But
no, I definitely feel like there was some kind of history there.
So
yeah,
but yeah, and it shows that even though he was the most stubborn, like shut in there was, he's still human. He still has like feelings for, caring about people. The compassion is there. And I do want to retract my statement. It is definitely like a progression fantasy system in place, because there are some power-ups that we do see from a few different characters. It did make me want to watch Groundhog Day though after listening to it, because I did listen to it 3 times in a row, back to back to back, just to make sure I was catching stuff in the earlier chapters that were referenced towards the end when everything kind of comes together. Yeah. I was trying to find the clues and all the red herrings and stuff, and I will say I knew it. I knew who the murderer was. I didn't trust that character from the start.
Yeah, it's meant to be like a classic murder mystery where it's, there are some clues, there are some red herrings, but I guess you're totally right. If you re-listen to it or reread it after you're done, there is a lot of indicators, of who the murderer was pretty early. But I really like stories like that. I find them to be a lot of fun, right? The Dresden Files kind of has that, but there are a lot of other urban fantasies too that play with kind of like the murder mystery or catching a monster. You know what I'm saying? So I I really like the genre. John says that I'm.
We lost John.
Yeah, we lost John somehow. I mean, he's over there, so I know that he's okay. But
He's not lost.
God.
But
He's back.
Boom.
Sorry, I can't get into chat. It's driving me bonkers. So I've been fiddling around, but I'm okay.
You're trying to get into chat?
Yeah, it won't let me chat.
Here.
But
Oh, I got you. Here's the link. There you
go. Yeah, so John always says that I'm playing author on hard mode because I keep switching genres every time I write a new book. It's never the same, literally the same genre as it was before. Hey, Craig. So I guess I do mostly write progression fantasy, and if you count progression fantasy, I've written multiple progression fantasies. But like
And
my
some
Frith Chronicles is
ones.
more like YA, and this one is more adult. You know what I'm saying? So it's not literally the same genre. My Nexus games is a lit RPG, but it's like it's not like these ones. You know what I'm saying? It's completely different in terms of feel and genre. But it's just because, man, as a reader, I love so many genres. You know what I'm saying? Like I have read so many books, so many genres. I love them. I have a great time with science fiction. I have a great time with fantasy. I love progression fantasy. I love classic fantasy, urban fantasy. Too many loves, you guys. And I just have all these stories.
When can we get some subplot romancy type things? Because that's what I need. That's
Book two has this, subplot of romance. It's actually super fun. I super loved writing this one. John constantly is like, "Oh my god, everybody is gonna love this subplot." And we have a writers group that meet every week and we talk about what we've written. Okay. Another user. I'm gonna just assume that's John. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's John.
We see him typing over there.
So we have a writers group that they write a lot of different genres, right? So it's rare that they ever all agree on one thing, like they all ever agree, like this was great. Normally there's somebody who's dissenting somewhere who's like, I guess it was okay. Anyway, this subplot, basically a love subplot in number 2. Everybody was clapping hard and was like, whoa. So I'm pretty sure that in book 2, it's going to be really well received. Now, fingers crossed, as the author, I always worry that it's not going to be well received. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just sweating bullets because I'm like, everybody's going to hate it. I'm a hack fraud. Like,
well, I can confirm, which I might get in trouble for confirming this. So, Jeff, don't yell at me, please. I got to spend most of Sunday with Jeff Hayes at DragonCon, going to the merch hall and stuff with him, just like getting to chat and hang out with him, which I never in my life thought I was going to be able to do. And it was a very surreal experience, I will say. And I was like, he was asking me, he's like, all right, so like, what'd you think of Time Marked Warlock? What'd you think of this? Like, what's going on in that head? I want to pick your mind. I was like, well, Jeff, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Time Marked Warlock fucking slapped. Book was amazing. Can't wait for book 2. And he was like, oh no, dude, you have no idea. Book 2 is so much fun. I'm having a blast with it. And I was like, all right, Jeff, like you didn't have to tell me that. Like, come on.
Yeah, so, he liked book 1 a lot, but he didn't really interact with me on it, if that makes any sense. But in book 2, he sent me multiple messages in the middle of recording and all this kind of stuff, being like, he would quote my own book. He would send me little screenshots of the book and be like, oh my God, this is so funny. This is so good. I really love this part.
He said he was having a blast and it was too funny. He was laughing a lot. And I was like, you know what? I need this book injected into my veins now. Like that's...
I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait for people to get it. Again, I'm still nervous. I'm excited, but nervous. You can't ever get over these weird feelings. But I just hope that everybody super likes it. It is a lot of fun. It's probably funnier and funner than book 1, because in book 1, I mean, Finch doesn't have his mojo back, right? He doesn't get his mojo back until
towards the end.
Yeah, and then when he gets his mojo back, he feels more like the hero, right? He feels like a guy who's got his shit together. We take down the bad guy. We do really cool stuff. So, but in book 2, we start with him already mostly, he's back. He's here doing solving crimes, and people call him up being like, hey, we have problems, we want to hire you. Like that's how the book starts basically. It's people being like, oh, we need to hire you to solve stuff. The mischief spirit Cull is with him, right? And
That damn bird.
yeah, in book 1, this isn't so much a spoiler because I think it happens in chapter 6 or 7, so it's very early. He made a pact with the mischief spirit saying that he would get her a human body. And in book 2, he comes through really early in book 2. He comes through and he gets her a human body. And even that is like hilarious. And and now a mischief spirit is a human. That entire subplot is hilarious. I feel like book 2 is just a lot more hilarity and action than in book 1. Because book 1 dealt with some somber themes, right?
Yeah.
He's depressed. He's helping a little girl whose mother was just murdered, like 2 seconds ago before the book started.
I feel bad for her too, because she has to relive that day for, they say what, about 2 months worth of resets.
She didn't have to re-experience the murder, though.
Yeah,
re-experience.
But just keep experiencing the one day, like, because they can't go over 24 hours from when he does the pact, because when he does, that's when the pact resets. And we learn why his brother, dies, because it's just like right over that mark of the 24-hour mark, which that broke me. That broke my heart. I was like, I feel it. And Jeff's delivery on that whole, like, the story about like him and his brother in the catacombs.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is emotional. And each time I got to that part, it was emotional.
Yeah, Jeff does an amazing job of really getting those character beats out there. And so, like I was saying, it is a little bit more somber, right? There are a lot of scenes in which you're like, oh, right, somebody just died. This is hard to get over. It's hard to move on. Although I think the book is mostly hopeful, because the whole point is that Adair moves on, and Bree, even though she's very, very upset in the beginning, does move on too. Like, she finds her happiness again, and she's a very happy and optimistic character. So by the end of the book, you feel really good, right? But in book 2, we don't have to deal necessarily with those heavy, somber feelings, because we've overcome them in book 1. So in book 2, we have a lot of fun. So again, very excited for people to see it. I hope people are going to have a great time with it. I hope all the jokes land. I mean, Jeff, like I said, was sending me messages being like, what a banger of a joke. Like, I can't believe you wrote this. And I'm like, yeah. There's that love subplot. I feel like love subplots are really fun.
Hell
so
yeah.
Personally, like, I've read romance because I read tons and tons of books. And some romances are okay, some are not. But I find personally that I don't like when romance is the plot A or the main plot, because for the most part, I'm like, okay, you need to stop miscommunicating and you just need to get together. You know what I'm saying? Like, now kiss. What's wrong with you? But when it's a subplot to a major plot, I like it a lot more, because, we're not just focusing on somebody's miscommunication or cheating or something weird like that. It's like every once in a while, when we're done fighting the monsters and stuff, these two characters like flirt some more or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, look at how cute they are. I just want them to make out constantly. So I really like that. I really like it as, I guess, spice to an overall meal as opposed to the meal itself. So I'm excited. I'm excited for all this.
We enjoy some spice here.
The spice.
we enjoy the spice. I have a question, and you can confirm nor deny this. It's up to you. Is the love interest, you don't have to say who it is, but is it someone we met in book 1?
Yes.
I think I know who it is, and I'm very excited, because there's 2 possibilities that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm so ready for this. So the 26th.
I think it'll be
November.
fun. I can't wait. Just 2 more weeks. I'm counting down the days, staring at the calendar, and being like, oh my God.
I'm gonna be at Thanksgiving dinner, and they're gonna be like, what are you doing? I'll be like, I'm reading. It's for work. Leave me alone. So Joel, why don't you throw some opinions out there for Time Marked Warlock? Because I didn't have to pull your leg to read this one. I was like, dude, read it. It's good.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
I read it in one sitting. It was really, really good. I will say Shammy, you need to stop with the negative self-talk. You're an amazing writer. Dude, every single series that you put out, it has this grim undertones that we don't get from any other authors, and it just makes your work shine like all the better. All right, I did want to get that off my chest. I also feel like Time Warp Warlock does have some amazingly funny moments. Like one that pops into mind is the routine that he has to like develop over the course of the series. There's like, okay, we need to do this and then this and then this to make sure it's done every time. And every time the little girl adds something to his plate, he's like, "You want me to save a dog now?" Like what?
It just kept upping the ante. They wanted to make sure that final day was perfect for everything, but not to mention, oh hey,
I'm
let's
gonna
go
redo
shopping
it. It
real
doesn't
quick.
matter right now.
I love that there's a day where they're like, we're not even going to worry about the murder. We're just going to go shopping. We're going to have a good time. And they go to like a bougie ass store and she gets this like expensive like coat and purse. And the people working the store are like, yeah, you can't afford this. And he goes, what a bet. Here you go.
Yeah, I loved the running joke that he looked like a hobo.
Yeah.
Like that everybody who
But
sees
that's
him
the
is
thing.
like, ew, who is
On
this
the
guy?
cover, he does not look like a hobo. He just looks like kind of like an edgelord little detective boy. Like that's
That's
it.
after he gets his hair cut. So at the end of the book, as a part of the final, perfect day, right, where he does everything exactly perfect. In the middle of, solving the crime and helping the dog and all this, he goes to like a barber, gets his hair cut and gets nicer clothes. But that's the whole point, is that he's gotten his mojo back, right? Because before he gets his hair cut, his hair is like down to his shoulders. He's wearing like gross and grody clothes. Like most people, when they meet him and they're like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm a Dare Finch. And they're like, you? Are you sure? Like that kind of attitude. Like at one point he goes up to somebody to question them about the crime. And the first thing they say is like, I don't have any change. Like they're backing away from him. And he's like, God damn it, I'm not a hobo. And that's what he looks like when they go into that store and he's going to buy all these like the coat. It's like $3,000. And they're like, sir, are you sure you don't need to go to a Kmart? Like that kind of attitude.
It's so good.
I will say one thing that wasn't really a joke but made me laugh is that every time the little girl goes to his house, he has the like magically calming tea that he gives her.
That is,
yeah.
I want that tea. I want that tea. But I just want to give a shout out to Annie on this one because she killed it. She absolutely killed it. I mean, Annie, anytime she's attached to a project, I know she's gonna, give it her all, which she does, and she's amazing at everything she does. We love Annie. Annie, if you're listening, we love you as well. Jeff, if you're listening, hi.
She has a super great range of like voices, of like female voices. So not only does she do Bree, who's like a 12-year-old girl, right? She also does like the old lady when Finch goes and questions the old lady neighbor, like completely different. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you that was the same voice actress, but it's totally her. She also does the voice of like the witches that Finch interacts with throughout the book. They all have like a different voice. Her narrator voice is very like on point for being a narrator. Just a huge range, super talented.
She's fantastic. And I know I threw shade at Jeff. No, Jeff, I love you too. You're amazing. You killed it in both of these books that we're talking about today, which I didn't realize on my first listen that Jeff only voices a deer and he just does the narration. Everyone else is Annie or Justin, which Justin, Joel, what was your comment when I asked you your thoughts? You said, why did every character Justin voice have to be kind of a bitch?
I don't remember this.
Not Justin himself, but the characters, because like some of the characters we meet that are the side characters that play key parts are kind of a bitch. They kind of are. the college professor, dude sucks. Like that dude straight up sucks.
Oh, but he nails it. He nails.
He does.
He
No,
does
Justin,
like the detective voice is really great. The professor voice is really great. Like all these like side characters. Dude, some of the theater again, just like I guess they just attract awesome talent or something, but they do an amazing job. And Ryan Reed, right? Another guy from Sound of
we
Theater.
love Ryan.
He joined the team for book 2. Dude, I cannot wait for people to meet JW, which is like the really fat business guy who
I'm so
ends
excited.
up hiring Adair. He knocked that out of the park. Jeebus.
I'm so excited. And it's a little, I don't know if this was done on purpose, but Jeff's character in Demon Card Enforcer is the biggest bitch in the entire series. So
Yes.
I find it funny that they just vice versa for the novels. So whoever planned that, I want to say, like, you know, bravo, because that was beautifully, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it's beautiful.
It's probably just by accident.
I'm sure, but
now.
I think they did a great job.
No, they absolutely did. And there's, once again, no performance sound booth has done that we've listened to that we've hated. Everything they do is perfect. If we don't like the writing, that's one thing. They give it their all. They are a group of amazingly talented people, and we need more of them in Lit RPG. Even though they have a good portion of Lit RPG, we need more of them. We just need more sound booth.
Oh yeah. This could be a sound booth appreciation podcast for over an hour if you ever.
Oh no,
really
we
wanted to
can
do
definitely do that. I'll call Jeff right now and be like, hey, we're hyping you guys up. You want to come say
clapping
hi?
hard. Yeah, I was very lucky that they took on the audiobook for this. I hope more people listen to it in all seriousness, just because it was so high quality. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I hope I can get more people into the series.
Well, I want to do, I don't know how I want to do this, but I want to get this book out there to more people because it's so good. When people are they're like, hey, this is kind of what I like to read. What would you recommend? I'm like, okay, well, if you don't really care for the stats and the game mechanics, how about a detective? How about murder mystery? Go on. Okay,
Yeah.
go on. All right, Time Marked Warlock. You read the Dresden Files? Cool. I haven't. So this is why you want to read it. Which I know I'm going to get some shit for that. I've not read Jim Butcher's books. I've not read a single Jim Butcher book. So
well, he's a really talented author. So I mean, I guess if you ever feel like just randomly venturing out there, he has a lot of books too. Like
I mainly want to do the Dresden Files just because I did love Time Marked Warlock. So, and I've heard a lot of hype around the Dresden Files, so I will start that at some point. It's just awesome. I need to get the backlog kind of.
Yeah. That's actually that's the for real problem, is that like my Kindle has like 200 plus books that I need to read. You know what I'm saying? And then just
we're talking Kindle. I'm talking just, you know, the books sitting on my shelf that are overflowing at this point.
Yeah.
I have 3 full bookshelves and books sitting on top of my dresser that I just don't have anywhere to put yet. So
yeah, I need to get more bookshelves for surezies.
We
Codex Alera. I compare my Frith Chronicles to Codex Alera pretty frequently, because his is like Pokemon meets like Rome, and I usually say that mine is like Pokemon meets Harry Potter. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. So,
which the First Chronicles I really, really do enjoy. And also congratulations on the Kickstarters, because those are freaking cool. If I had more funding, I would have, you know, backed it, because I want those on my shelf. They're very pretty.
Oh, they're so luxe. I am really, really happy with how the quality turned out. Like they're big chunk ass books, but it's got the sprayed edges, the faux leather. It's like stitch bound instead of glue bound. You know, like that's just the higher really quality stuff.
That's so cool.
The bestiary has like full color illustrations. It's kind of like a monster manual from Dungeons and Dragons, because it just details all their powers and stuff.
Damn it. All right, I think I might have to break the bank now, because I don't need food. I just need more books. That's it.
Yeah, it's definitely a collector's edition. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those type of books where it's like, oh god, it's so fancy.
See,
even I don't want to open it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too fancy to be opened.
which I know,
But, yeah,
I know
happy.
that it helped a few people get through the hurricane season because it arrived right before people lost power. So let's be happy about that.
Yeah, I was a little worried because a couple people right after the hurricane messaged me and were like, "Oh, I don't think I got my book," and I'm like, "Oh no," you know what I'm saying? It's okay. Everybody got their book now. I made sure everybody got their book, but I think a couple people, they leave a package out on the front porch just a couple days, and then
So, are we talking First Chronicles?
Oh, if he's asking the First Chronicles, it's classified as young adult. So the main character in the first book is 15, and then in the final book, he's like age 20. So it ages with him, it matures with him. I would start with Nightmare Arcanist. Nightmare starts with a K, like a knight, right?
Think
And
of
that all
like Batman's nightmare. Like
it all makes sense in the book. The main character finds a nightmare, obviously. It's like a hollow suit of armor made of shadow. If you like Harry Potter or Pokemon, I feel like you're going to have a great time with this because it's very much those vibes, if that makes any sense. Lots of magical creatures. They can speak. And so people who bond with them, they can have a relationship with their creature. It talks, like that kind of thing. There's a lot of fights. Like if you like fight scene, it's a progression fantasy through and through. So yeah, it's probably one of my most famous series. I think that's what everybody knows me for is the Frith Chronicles. It has a nice fan following. I do these cool Kickstarters. A lot of fans are very pro the Kickstarter. They love their Kickstarter editions. I get tons and tons of artwork. Yeah. So yeah, if you only have to read one book from me to see what kind of writer I am, I guess I would say start with Nightmare. But if you like urban fantasy, even a little bit, Time Marked Warlock is my love letter to urban fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Like I love the genre too. So if you love the genre, we can high five over the internet because I'm 100% there for you, my bro.
Time Marked Warlock is fucking phenomenal, and I can't get over it. I need to be a little bit more professional when I'm talking about my books, but we're not professionals here. We like to have fun, and that book is it's so good. It is so good, and it gave me the supernatural like itch like that I've been missing, from a random Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Yeah. Well, Supernatural is like an urban fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Like that whole show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm there for that too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly
that's
what I'm
the
going
itch this book was able to scratch. So thank you for that.
I'm glad. I'm really glad. And I am a downer on myself. Like most of the time, if people are like, "Oh, do you think you're a good author?" I'm like, "No, I'm trash. I just roll myself into a ditch." But I do have to stop doing that. I shouldn't be self-deprecating constantly. But
you are a fantastic author.
I can at least say with no hesitation whatsoever that I'm a huge fan of the urban fantasy, and I wrote a love letter to urban fantasy. And if that sounds anything like you like it, if you like Supernatural, you like the Chattin Files, I feel like you're going to have a good time with this because I just do it justice. If that makes any sense, like I'm there for it.
And the First Chronicles does have a box set on Audible. I believe it's the first 3 books.
Like
6 hours, and it's fantastic. I powered through that. I need to go back and finish that series, and then that way I can start the
if I'm being honest, I have not read First Chronicles.
You need to.
Yeah, I do need to. But what it's giving me vibes of is, do you ever watch or like gotten the book for Spiderwick Chronicles? Like the
I've heard of the Spiderwick Chronicles, but I have not read.
I read those in elementary school.
I was like one of my favorite book series in elementary school, and it had its own like monster manual. It reminds me of that, but as Pokemon. Is the vibe that I'm getting here.
Yeah.
Joel, it's funny you bring up Spiderwick Chronicles because it reminds me of the divide that there was for Spiderwick Chronicles at my elementary school. You either liked Lemony Snicket or you liked the Spiderwick Chronicles. There was no in between. You were not allowed to like both. I liked both, but you were not
why
allowed
can't you
to.
not like both?
Well, I remember in my elementary school, it was like that for Pokemon and Digimon. You either were a fan of Pokemon or you were a fan of Digimon.
We didn't talk about Digimon.
You can't be both.
we didn't talk about Digimon. It was Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. That was the big two. And Beyblade.
Okay.
Beyblade got thrown in there because
Beyblade. Yeah, Beyblade.
And then they started talking about Bakugan, and I was like, no, that's stupid. We're going back to these. I don't want to talk about little roly boys. No, we're
Oh man. Yeah.
Just spinny boys. That's all you do.
Oh, the other thing that was a big thing for us was the scanner thing where you could like scan barcodes, and it some barcodes would have like monsters on them.
That game?
Oh, dude. There was Monster Rancher back in the day where you could take CDs and put them into your PlayStation or PlayStation 2 and they would unlock new monsters for you. Dude, any monster catching game or show or anything, I'm there. I'm neck deep. I love monster hunting, monster catching, monster taming, Azure Dreams, Monster Hunter, Monster Rancher, fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! I even classify that because a lot of the cards are basically just getting monsters, right? Digimon. I watched the fuck out of Digimon. You know what I'm saying? Like all those.
So I just put this in the chat. This is what I was talking about. I just searched barcode monster scanner game, and this is what popped up. It was called Scanners. And I remember it. I had the red one, and that thing was so cool because you could like link up with other people in battle.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. That was really, really cool. And I thought it was a fever dream for the longest time.
This can't
like
be
Darkwing
real.
Duck. I didn't think Darkwing Duck was real.
Darkwing Duck is cool. What's wrong with you?
I thought I dreamt it for the longest time. That and Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. So couldn't remember the title, but I was like, I know the premise of the show.
That's pretty funny.
So I did have a question for you, Shammy, because I am going to be starting it at some point. It's in the backlog.
Okay.
Astra Academy, does that like cross over with the First Chronicles? Is it the same universe or is it a completely separate thing?
It's in the same universe. It takes place 70 years after the end of the First Chronicles. You don't need to have finished the First Chronicles to enjoy Astra Academy because it's an independent story. But if you have read the Fifth Chronicles, there's like a bunch of Easter eggs in Astra Academy. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's that character after 70 years, or oh, that character is oh, this is who they married. Here are the kids they had. You know what? Like those type of Easter eggs. Again, it would not harm your reading to not know who they are. But if you did know, you might be like, whoa, it's so cool that they are doing well. You know, like that kind of thing. So yeah, you can read Astra Academy at any time.
29.
Is Xerox asking me?
No, he's asking me because I was talking about the So 29.
There you go.
So I am still, as how does Geneva put it? I am still child. So
I was going to say you're about to hit 30, and that's when your life is officially over, right? Now you're just in the grave. Like
I already have the back problems of a 50-year-old, so you know what? I'll just take it. Like the fact that I'm standing to do this, and I stand on a daily basis to do like recording and stuff. I'm surprised I haven't started, collapsing.
Right. Yeah. It just happens slowly by surely. You get all these weird problems. And you're like, when the fuck did I get old?
I think 12 years of friendship with Joel did that to me. So
I would say like 8 years of night shift.
That too. So the books come out on the 26th and they're coming out simultaneous, right? They're going to both be releasing the same day with the audiobooks. So guys, get those Audible bundle credits ready because we're getting some fantastic content. I'm excited. And yes, I do remember a lot from elementary school because
I remember a lot from elementary school too. I'm surprised when people
my photogenic brain.
I don't know if I have a photo memory, but I remember a lot of middle school and elementary school just because I feel like there were a lot of things that happened that are like impactful memory wise.
See,
You know what I'm
I can
saying?
remember like a lot of that stuff, but I cannot remember like a conversation I had with Joel yesterday. So
Another
See, I
sign you're old.
remember a lot of the people from elementary school. I don't remember like the events that happened, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, no, that's fair. I remember like a lot of the events, not who all was involved, but I remember a lot of the events. So, because therapy.
Oh. Woo.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Therapy.
I'm ready for these books to come out, and I know how I'm going to be spending
Same.
my Thanksgiving holiday season because what else could we be thankful for other than fantastic books from an amazing, author
Duo, yeah.
duo. I was trying to think of I was like, is duo the right word?
Yeah, no, it's good. You're way too good to us. You guys are so amazing. I love your guys' podcast. You guys are just good people. Seeing you guys at Dragon Con every time is like really great. I know that we only get to hang out for like 30 seconds because there's like 500 fools and
You
everybody's
guys
trying
were
to talk over each
surrounded
other.
this year, and it's like, Shamey, we got to say hi in passing, but I got to have a
Yeah.
conversation with John, which made me very happy because who was standing there with us? I think it was Timothy McGowan.
Weren't we talking about my dead dad?
No, we were talking about Demon Card Enforcer and the other one that just launched on Royal Road. The Apocalypse.
Card Apocalypse, yeah.
Yeah.
This goes back to the events, not the people.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yes.
But no, Dragon Con this year was a lot more overwhelming than it was last year. Because last year it was overwhelming, but this year, holy hell. I had to step away from the Westin for a little bit because I just could not. It was way too packed for me. And I was like, nope, I'm going to go to my hidey hole. Please leave me be.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you. It's difficult to really talk with anybody. You know, I hung out with Jeff for a little bit when we were at he had a party in the Westin bar, and then there was also that Lit RPG event, and so I got to see people, but it's like for like a couple minutes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just chat with them and then head off. But still, the couple minutes that I saw you, they were good minutes. So
yes, they were.
Yeah, you guys
and
are
like
great.
for me with we tried doing we were going to do recordings and stuff, get a lot of promos to put up on TikTok. And when we finally were able to try to start doing that, you couldn't hear a thing because everywhere was just so loud. And the mics we had, they were shorting out. It was clipping everywhere. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but we have some stuff we're going to try because Joel and I will both be attending Jordan Con this year.
Nice.
And what is that, in April? Yeah, it's in April. And then we have Lit RPG Con where the Stats crew will be there. Our third co-host, Jess, will be joining us.
I'm pretty sure John and I are going to be at the Lit RPG Con. We have a couple cons already lined up for next year, which is why I think he was hesitating when you asked him. But we talked about the Lit RPG Con, and since this is going to be like the first one, and I think Sound Booth Theater is either completely funding it or half funding it.
So the big sponsors are Sound Booth Theater and Legion Publishers, which shout out to both of them. They're all amazing people. I'm so excited for this, and I believe Matt Denneman is also a sponsor. So
I think we definitely want to have our teams back, if that makes any sense. Like to really back them up and be there for them and make sure it's a great event. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we're going to be there.
Yeah. And Stats is going to be doing a live panel
at
Lit RPG Con. So that way people can ask us questions, which I am nervous as all hell because I know, hey, Rich, so feet pics, why? I'll give you the answer why. Matt Denneman. Matt Denneman set it up. It's all Matt Denneman. Blame Matt.
Sounds like him in all seriousness.
That was the requirement to get him on the show last year. 20 people had to send me feet pics. That was the thing.
Oh my goodness.
And then it just evolved. It evolved.
Yeah, he's trying to get me to go to a strip club.
That sounds like Matt. We love Matt. Not me, but the rest of the No, Matt is
Platonically.
genuinely great person. He just likes to torture me.
Yeah, he's fun like that.
He's a good dude, and we got Dungeon Crawler Carl coming out tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Book 7's or the Kindle version. The paperback's already out. I'm hearing a lot of good things. I was going to be, a peasant and wait for the audiobook because nothing tickles the ear holes like Jeff Hayes doing Carl's
I think
voice.
that comes out in February of next year.
February 25th, I believe, is the release date. I can pull it up right now.
It's not too long away.
No, it's not, and I'm sure Jeff.
I was surprised they got a release date so early.
The 11th of January, or the 11th of February, so right before Valentine's Day. So if you're looking for a little gift to give to your loved one who likes to read or likes books, get him Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 7 on Audible.
They'd have to get through the rest of the series.
And if you're looking for something,
but if you haven't read it yet, you're living under a rock. It's a fantastic series.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of people are reading it now, like tons and tons.
Oh no, it's blowing
popularity. Up. Yeah,
it is blowing up. And they gave him a bigger room this year for his cold read. I got to hear a little bit of it at Dragon Con. I was like, Matt, when's panel? He goes, it's this time. I was like, cool, see you there. And he was like, yeah, cool. Follow me. You're taking pictures. I was like, okay, that works for me. I'll do that. Yeah, sure. So I sat front row just to take pictures for Matt. And Steve Rowland he was right at the cutoff point for when they stopped letting people into the room. And Matt was like, no, we need him in here. So he just went out and brought Steve to sit up on the stage with him. So stripper author Steve Rowland was up there, and it was fantastic. I have a picture of him just like, hi.
Steve was great. I'm glad that Matt did that.
It was fantastic. So if you guys are looking for something to get your loved one, just to say, I am thankful for you, since Thanksgiving is coming up. Time Marked Warlock Book 2 and Demon Card Enforcer Book 2. 11/26.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good.
Do it. So I think that kind of wraps it up. So we're going to do our fun little favorite thing of, hey, what you been reading? So, John, we'll start with you.
First Necromancer 2 by Cold Fang 89, Andrew Klutz. Shammy and I did that one audio.
Christian Gilliand
is the narrator for that one. I'm going to be very embarrassed now. I don't know the name of the person that does the.
I think it's Christian.
Yeah, but if once you guys finish the two that we were talking about today, well, technically you could finish this one before then because his is already out. But that was,
it's on my list. It's up there, and yeah, it's Christian Gilliand.
Yeah,
great narrator. We love Christian. It's on my list. I have not gotten to it yet, and I need to.
I also know that Andrew really likes you guys. So,
well, we appreciate all the love and support. So I need to move it up the list. I will get to it. I got to finish my current listen right now, but I think that might be next on my list. Shammy, what about you? What you been reading?
I've just finished up Soul Fraud by Andrew Gilver. I had to bring up my Kindle to see. He was another urban fantasy author that I met at Dragon Con, and I said I would check out his series, so I decided to do that, and I read it. So just to back up, the guy who did my cover, his name is Chris McGrath, and he's the guy who did the covers for like the Dresden Files. He's very famous in the sphere. He also does the covers for Andrew. And so when we were chatting at Dragon Con, we were talking about, our experiences of working with Chris and how it was cool and how much we love urban fantasy. And so that's when I picked up his book, and I only recently just finished it. So
is that Death Tax and
that's the series that he does. So I just finished the first book, which was Soul Fraud, where some guy is basically tricked by a demon to sign a soul away. So that's the premise of the book. It's mostly a comedy. Like, it starts very, very heavy in the comedy, and only later in the book does it kind of ground itself more serious. But if you're looking for like a comedy urban fantasy, that's the book. So just finished that up.
I met Andrew at Dragon Con, and he great guy, absolutely
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic guy. I think it was Ben Wolf that introduced me to him. He was like, "Hey,
Nice.
talk to this guy. He knows what's up." I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah." Like anyone
He
you want
also
to
has
throw me
like
at,
a YouTube channel where he does like book stuff. So yeah,
and he plays
he's a
Minecraft.
really great guy. Yeah.
So I follow him on Twitter, and I reached out to him to congratulate him on the release of book 2 or book 4
Nice.
because Death Tax is book 4.
Yeah, that's the fourth one in the series. Yeah.
And it looks really good, and it looks like it's right up my alley. So that's also on my list. I gotta so many damn books to read.
Yeah,
Fuck.
that's how I feel all the time. It's like I'm like, man, that's like a bajillion books I
Well,
gotta knock out. So
and with running the podcast, it limits like we rarely get time to read what we want to read because we're always reading stuff for the channel.
yeah,
So we have to
yeah.
like make that time. And right now that's what I'm currently doing is making time to read the books. I'm like, okay, I need to read this. This is like the next one in the series. I need to read this. I need to read this. I'll talk to someone and they're like, hey, what's your thought on this series? And I was like, it's a good series. Damn it. I want to go back and reread that one.
Yeah, no, I 100% get it. Especially being an author.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it makes it harder to read books because you might see the flaws or like the story structure. So it's like sometimes difficult to get back into reader mode.
Yeah.
Where you kind of just read it to enjoy it as opposed to like critiquing it or something crazy like that. Additionally, if I've written all day, like if I've written like 6,000, 8,000 words, like the last thing I want to do right after that is then look at some more words. Does that make any sense? It was better to listen to the audiobook with John for the first Necromancer because it didn't feel like just staring at words then with the audiobook. It was more like a performance, right? I think I just need to get more into audiobooks is actually what I desperately need if I want to keep consuming like more books on a fairly regular basis, just because it's difficult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, you've probably heard it from a million people, but I used to read seriously, not joking, about 1,000 pages a day for pleasure. And now I'm lucky if I get 500 a week, and it's all since I became an author. And it does make it a struggle because a lot of my author friends, especially ones I used to read 100%, like Jonathan Brooks, who puts out a book every freaking month, and I used to read like
that
every
dude
single
is a
one.
machine.
Yeah, and this is going to sound weird, but he helped me out a couple times with becoming an author, and I just eventually joined his stuff just to send him every $5 every month because I feel bad because I don't even read his books anymore, and like that's a great thank you for a dude that helped me out. You know what I'm saying? But I don't even know how to handle it because it's become much more of a challenge to consume like I used to.
That's I kind of feel that. I'm in the process of publishing my first audiobook. Very excited about that.
Congrats, man. That's great.
I can't wait to get it out. It's from Timothy McGowan. I'm really, really excited to get that one out. And I can go to work on Stardivers from Stephen Landry. So it's like and now that I've switched jobs, I'm not like out in the stores like stocking anymore. So I can't really listen to my audiobooks. I got to actually talk to customers again, which is fun, but it's really toned back my reading time. So it's like, oh my God, my TBR. The only time I really get to listen to books anymore is when I'm playing video games.
Yeah. I've realized that if I want any time to read something I need to read, I should probably look at Richie's books that he recommends me because he'll end up like scheduling shows for those books. And then that way I'm not last minute listening to stuff we need for the episode.
I'm
And
sorry, Joel.
let me just No, I mean, most of the stuff he recommends is really good, and I end up enjoying it. But
there's been a few times where you're like, Rich, what the hell did you recommend to me? Recommend to me? Why?
This is also true.
That's when you just bust out a Mountain Dew and get to reading. That's what I have to do. Woo! So, Joel, what book you been reading?
So this week, and yes, it's taken like an entire week, I did a re-listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Hell yeah.
And then before that, because that's when you did the cold read episode, I've been listening to a lot of Bruce Centaur's books because we had him on, and then I just went on a huge Bruce Centaur kick. And so I've been reading Returner's Defiance, Dungeon Diving 101 and 102 or 202, whatever.
It's 102, and then it evolves into the 200s.
Yeah,
they're good. They're fantastic.
they are fantastic. But yeah, so I've been reading a lot of romance, and Rich is like, we need more romance, and I'm like,
I didn't say we need more
I need a
romance. I said
break.
we need more romance subplots. There is a difference between spicy and are they going to actually bang? Like it's two different like diagrams. All right, come on, Joel. I'm better than that.
My bad.
We do need more spicy novels, and I have like 2 sitting at the house that an author had sent us for you. So,
Ooh, I am looking forward to that. That's HP.
it's HP. We absolutely love HP.
Yeah, HP is great.
Anytime they have a new release, they just send it to Joel and I, which adds to the TBR. And then as soon as the audiobook comes out, we already have bought it and we're ready to go. So shout out to HP and Jacob because we love them dearly.
They're great. Seriously.
It's been on my list.
You guys got to hang out with them at Pecan, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Pecan or like the one in Texas?
Yeah, we
I got an in.
She was the Star of Honor there. And on the last day, right before everything closed up, we got to hang out with her and just sort of chill for like 90 minutes or something.
Whenever I get to meet her in person, because we've only gotten to meet her through this, I owe her the biggest hug. Like I owe her the absolute biggest hug because she is such an absolute sweetheart and we cannot give enough love to her. So
she's also deceptively tall. She's another one of those people who was like, I didn't realize how tall you were.
I love a challenge. Okay.
It's the same with Andy Peliquin. I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
I met him.
Yeah, he's also like there are just a whole bunch of people who I'm like, oh shit. You know, we talked about Justin, but Justin, Andy, HP, these are all people where I'm like, oh, hello.
Ryan DeBruin. Like Ryan.
Yes,
I heard he was
actually,
a tall dude.
Yeah,
dude, Ryan is a fantastic cook. Speaking
Ryan
of
DeBruin?
things you would never know. Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Dude, yeah, he made Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellingtons.
Yeah, we did like a writer's retreat. This was like a year back, but we went to those weird, what are they called? The Outer Banks. Outer Banks. There we go. Yeah. We went to the Outer Banks. We all got like a mansion Airbnb, like 10 of us. And Ryan was there and he made beef Wellingtons for everybody while we were doing writing and stuff. It was great. He's a great guy.
All right, Ryan, we need to schedule you
and his
to Indiana just to see Joel and I. No specific reason. Cook for us, please.
Absolutely. In his Stardiver series, he has a quest system set up for cooking. And it has some of his recipes.
Stardivers is not Ryan. Stardivers
are not Stardivers.
That's Ether.
What is it called?
Ether Collapse.
No, not Ether. It's his cultivation one.
Oh,
Tower Starter or I have it on my shelf.
You do. Because I gave you the copy. Oh, what is it? System.
This one.
Star Tower. See, Craig's already down here in the chat ready.
He's got a quest system for some of his recipes, and pretty hype.
I was like, Stardivers.
I love it when authors put some of themselves into their books. It just shows a different experience.
It's good. It's really good. But now I want a hug from Ryan DeBruin again because he gave me a hug at Dragon Con last year. And I didn't get that hug this year. So now I'm sad. Ryan, the fuck. So I probably should do what I've been reading. Obviously, Eldritch Knight to get ready. Eldritch Knight to get that ready to go out. I did do Returner's Defiance because of that Bruce Centaur kick. The Silence of Unworthy Gods is my current listen. I'm finishing it up, which is Andrew Rowe's 4th book in the Arcane Ascension series. Thicker Than Water by Michael Morton. It's Daniel Wisniewski was like, hey, do you want a mech book? And I was like, sure. So I listened to that. I need to give that a review and a rating because, oops, I forgot to do that. Really good. And then I am finally catching up on Ascend Online by Luke Chimolenko. Great series. I'm mad at myself for taking this long to get to it. I did read the first book in Primal Hunter, and yeah, I think that's roughly about it since the last time I did What You've Been Reading. So they all kind of blend
one thing
together.
I did want to ask about that has like not really much to do with our topic discussion is so Audible recently added this thing that when you finish a book and you haven't picked a new book, it'll start giving you recommendations for other books and playing the samples for them.
I
So
did
like
not know that was
anytime
a
you
thing.
just go AFK and finish a book, it's like, oh, let's play the samples for other books. Or at least that's how it's been on my device. So I don't know
That's
how I
weird.
feel about that.
Huh. Well, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So coming up on the stats channel, like I said, we are booked for the rest of the year. And we've already been booked for the good first part, I think, until February of next year. Coming up, our next episode is going to be on the 20th, which is next Wednesday. It's another cold read, and we will be reading. I have it in here because I just made a TikTok with it the other day, but just Threet and I will be reading part of Son of a Sailor, and Marshall J. Moore will be joining us for a conversation after we do our cold read. I'm really excited about these cold reads. They're going to be a lot of fun. So, and we're taking submissions at some point. I don't know when we're going to start taking submissions from authors, but we're going to be taking submissions. So be on the lookout for that. Not every episode is going to be a live stream. Some will be uploaded directly just to YouTube. We're looking on other stuff for the channel. The merch store will be up and running hopefully by the end of the year. Hopefully just in time for the holiday season, so you can get your loved ones that Chat and Stats merch, because who doesn't want a good Chat and Stats t-shirt? So you can walk around, people are like, what's Chat and Stats? It's a podcast. You probably wouldn't like it, but you know.
Dude, if you don't have a Ricky Stevens plushie, I'm gonna be disappointed.
I will get a Richie Stevens plushie, and it will be just one giant foot. Okay.
Oh my god!
Do you have foot shape with his face on it?
Yeah, it's just gonna be a foot with my face just going. That's gonna be the plush. We'll figure out how to make that happen. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. And then our next guest that we have scheduled, I believe, is Seth Ring. I'll have to check the calendar to talk about his Chains of Feather series that just came out, The Iron Tyrant. I'm really excited about that one because it's a good listen. But Shammy, John, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was such a fun time. I'm so happy we finally got to talk about Demon Card Enforcer and Time Marked Warlock because they are such good damn reads. And you guys, if you haven't read them yet, like, here, hold on. I need to do this again. Okay, cool. Look at me. All right. Read the books. The books are fantastic. Go to Audible right now or go to Kindle. Actually, go to Amazon, get the paperback copies or order them directly through the authors. I don't know if they allow that, but do it. Read these books. They're good. They're freaking fantastic. I cannot recommend them enough. 2 of them in the top 5 reads of the year. Do it.
My mom says they're good too.
My mom doesn't.
Josh, and obviously. My mom hasn't read my books either. It was a joke.
My mom was like, why are you reading another book? Well, you yelled at me when I was younger for not reading. So now I'm reading. Like, make up your mind.
What do you want from me? Nah.
So,
yeah, thank
Andrew,
you guys. This was super fun.
I will send you the plushie. I will send you the plushie. I will send it to you. Send it right to your house. It'll be in a nice, like, bow-tied box and everything. But
also, thank you to our awesome audience.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you guys for all the support over the years. Like, if you're just now tuning in, thank you for tuning in. But I hope everyone has an amazing night. Have an amazing week. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. But yeah, tune in for our next episode on the 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Bye. Bye.